Corporate interviews are a stressful, sometimes annoying, and complicated ritual within our corporate workspace when you're trying to find a new position for yourself. And it's also one of the facets of your corporate career that you may not get too much training for within your academic preparation. So in this video, my goal is to try to relay or pass down some of the experience and learnings that I've had within my career that hopefully might be able to give you an edge up, or if nothing else, make you feel a little bit more comfortable within your interviews. Hi, I'm John, and thank you for watching my channel, Taco Banana. Most of my content generally focuses on science, astrophysics, and technology, but I thought it would be interesting to start trying to do some videos about not just science and technology, but science and technology within society and the workplace. I hope to be able to pass down some of the learnings, experiences, and advice that I wish I had gotten when I started my career more than a few years ago. Okay, so enough of that. Who am I and what experience do I have with corporate interviews? As you may know from the other content on my channel, my academic preparation is in academic physics. I have a bachelor's and a master's of science and physics. And with that, I did all the research that comes with it. I did interferometry in my undergraduate and thin film deposition and vacuum processing in my master's. After that, I've spent the last 10 years working for publicly traded tech companies that do 24/7 automated manufacturing. Most of my work has been as a process engineer. So someone that becomes an expert in operations, and goal is to try to make sure things are running smoothly, continuously, and also continuously improving. And within that, I have interviewed with dozens of tech companies, most of which you will have heard of. And I've also been an interviewer. So I have been in a lot of interviews, but I have also conducted interviews trying to select engineers that we thought would be appropriate and a good fit for the tech firm that I was working for. So with that said, let's get on with the points in this video, and hopefully something in this video will be able to help you out in the future. While interviews can be stressful, boring, tedious, and just a lot to go into, it's hard not to dwell on an interview beforehand, and it's kind of stressful afterwards when you have to wait to see if you hear back or not. But all that said, corporate interviews are still a very good way for a company to see if you're a good fit for a position, but also for you to suss out the company and the people interviewing and try to get an idea so you can make an informed decision if this role with this company is a good fit for you. So piece of advice number one, do your research. This is your chance to demonstrate who you are and give a good impression to the interviewers. So my advice is that going into an interview for any given company, make sure you've done your research and you know what this company is, what they do, and what the position entails. So what do I mean by that? Make sure you know the company's history. Is this a new company or an old company? Have they been around for 100 years or 10? Know the product. What do they do? What are the revenue streams? What is the size of the company? Is this a young operation of maybe 1,000 people, or is this an established global megacorp that employs 150,000 people worldwide? What is the revenue? What is the yearly profit? What is the size of it? Is it publicly traded? How long has it been publicly traded? What is the stock performance like? All these little details, while won't necessarily impact your performance or prepare you for the role you're applying for, but it does show that you're the type of person that will research a problem before going into it. That when you go into a meeting, you will have the data that you need. That you are someone that is thorough and takes initiative and investigates issues on your own. It's a very good way of conveying all of that to the interviewee. And bonus points if you know more about the company, at least in this public information, than the interviewer themselves. It is a great way to set yourself aside from everybody else. Second point, this is an interview. This is a chance for you to sell yourself. Depending on your background, your culture, personal experience, socioeconomic class, we are not all raised with the idea of having to sell ourselves in a corporate environment. I am personally an immigrant to the United States. I've only lived in the US half of my life. I struggled very much with the idea that I have to sell my work. I was used to do your job, do it right, people will notice, be humble about it. And looking back, I do think that impacted my career. While I'm happy with the choices I've made, looking back, I do think I would have had possibly more options if I maybe had done that. If I had been a little bit more willing to step outside my comfort zone, to push to celebrate my achievements and my accomplishments more. And likewise, in your resume, it is also another opportunity for you to sell your accomplishments, sell your expertise, and to describe the things that you think will be helpful for the company and that are selling points for yourself as a professional. And this is especially true in technical interviews. Don't bullshit. Elaborate, enhance, upsell, but especially when you come to technical matters, you will hit a point where you will not be able to bullshit. You will not be able to use your wit or to be clever to get around a technical question. For example, if I'm conducting an interview and I'm looking for someone that is an expert in plasma etching vacuum chambers used in chip manufacturing, if I ask you, how do you strike a plasma within a vacuum chamber, you're not going to have very much leeway for trying to make up an answer. There is only a few physical mechanisms that can do that. So if you lie to me, I will be able to determine it very quickly. And that is very big negative points on you. It would be better just to come straight forward and say, look, I don't have this experience. I don't know this, but I can investigate it. I can learn. You're not always going to have the exact perfect skill set an employer is looking for. So in absence of that, you can at least attempt to demonstrate you're the person that is driven, motivated to teach yourself new skills. No one is a perfect fit for any job, and the eagerness to learn is a huge advantage in the technical environment. So be honest, embellish a little bit, but don't outright lie, because if you get caught in a lie, it puts every other achievement of yours into doubt. If you lie to me about A, how do I not know that you're not lying to me about B? And if you're in a technical interview, chances are an engineer, engineering manager, technician, or someone in a technical role is being tapped to give you a technical interview, and they will be giving you a resume. Your resume might be the only thing the interviewer knows about you. So when you structure your resume, try to structure it in a way that you invite questions that will allow you to elaborate on your selling points. Try to think of a couple of major projects or major achievements that you have that you really want to bring up and tell the interviewer, and try to find a way to place them in a prominent position within your resume, with the goal of, once you sit down and you're in a face-to-face or in a Zoom meeting, the interviewer will see this project or achievement and then ask you about it. Once you get asked that, now is your chance to shine. Hopefully you will have already rehearsed the main bullet points of what you want to convey with a given story, a given project, a given task, a given accomplishment. If it gets brought up, do your thing, walk through the points that you've rehearsed, and make yourself look good. So in summary, use your resume to invite questions about achievements or accomplishments that will make you look good and help you stand out compared to other candidates. Okay, my next point kind of ties into something I mentioned previously. I can teach you how to tune a radio frequency generator that's attached to a vacuum chamber. I can teach you how to calibrate an optical detection system that detects the wavelengths of light out of a plasma. I can teach you about best practices for quality management within a manufacturing environment. I cannot teach you to show up on time. I cannot teach you to enjoy the process of learning. I can't teach you to take your own initiative and ask people about a given topic, a given problem that a factory is encountering, or diving into spec to get your own data, or contacting vendors to get more information about a part that they're supplying to your manufacturing process. You can't be taught to give a damn. You can't be taught to give a shit, as a manager once told me. Everything else might be teachable. So if you demonstrate that you're the type of person that enjoys learning and you don't have to be pushed into it, it will help you stand out and will give the interviewer the impression that you're better able to adapt to any role or any situation where you don't have previous expertise. Engineers and scientists are not people that know everything, but they're people that have the skill set to investigate things and determine new phenomenon, new issues, new behaviors, new systems. So genuine enthusiasm for learning and for self-teaching goes a long way in my opinion. And it's one of the things that I would notice. If I had to choose to recommend a candidate or not, I would sooner recommend someone with a good attitude and a hunger for learning over someone that might have more prestigious credentials or experience, but doesn't have the attitude. You can do everything right and still fail. So it is very normal, especially in a capitalistic free market society. It's normal for us to attach value to our profession and our jobs and how we present ourselves to society. Sometimes we can take interviews as a reflection of our worth. I have been told to go apply for a specific job requisition that is public, but that was listed knowing full well that job was for me, that they have already chosen a candidate. And the same thing can happen to you. You might see a job listing, apply for it, interview, go through the motions, but it turned out that the company already had a candidate, but they had to at least interview some other people. Or also happened to me one time, you're talking to a company, the HR representative doesn't know that there's going to be a change in hiring practices, or that hirings are going to be stopped altogether. So you can be talking to somebody, setting up an interview, and then word comes down and your HR contact gets told, we're not hiring anymore. Stop everything. So what I'm trying to say is that don't let the outcome of an interview impact how you feel about yourself and your confidence as a professional. You can do everything right and still fail for reasons that you will never know about. And that's not on you. Sometimes you will fuck up an interview, and that is on you. I just got notification yesterday that I did not get a position I was applying for since I'm currently in a job hunt myself. The best thing you can do is pick yourself up, remind yourself of what you're worth, and move on. But don't let a company interview or anything like that impact how you view yourself as a professional. Hold yourself to your standard, live it, do your best, and carry your chin up high. Don't let a company make you feel like you're not what you think you are. Okay, next point, one that I've actually forgotten about myself in my last interview. Make sure you have some questions to ask your interviewer. Asking questions, one, is a good way for you to get some information. For example, what is your work-life culture like? Is work-life balance a priority for your management? Is there an on-call rotation? What are expectations for working nights and weekends? These are all things that can give you an insight on things that will impact your workload that your manager and your employer may not want to tell you up front. Because now you're talking to people that will potentially be your teammates, and they're not going to want to lie to you, ideally. This might be your opportunity to see if there's any issues that you see in the company you may want to try to avoid. And it's a way for you to get more information to see if this is a good fit for you or not. You always want to be careful with workplace cultures. There are companies that understand that it's important to cultivate expertise and keep people around. There are companies that will only hire new hires that don't have an idea or a point of comparison for what work-life balance and what a work culture is like. And then they will push them to work 60, 80-hour weeks for years at a time and then have them quit. And that's how they just churn through new hires, get a few years of 60-hour weeks out of them. 3 years in, they quit, you repeat. That may be something that lines up with what you think is good for you, especially if you don't have a lot of obligations outside of work. But at some point, you may not be up for that, and you should know, so you can make an informed decision for what's best for you and your family. Apply directly. I like LinkedIn, I like Indeed, and all the other job board websites. They are great tools. But anytime you apply to a company through a middleman, the company will have to pay the middleman. So ask yourself this: do you want the company to just be able to contact you if they're interested? Or do you want them to want you so bad that they have to pay a contractor, that they have to pay someone doing their hiring for them, external to the company, thousands of dollars if they choose to go with you? And you can waste a lot of time talking to recruiters, applying on Indeed and LinkedIn. And I'm not saying this is not something that might work out for you. But if you're not getting the response that you want from companies, maybe go to LinkedIn, go to Indeed, find the position and the companies that you're interested in, and then search directly for that website of that company and apply to them directly. Get the middleman out of the conversation. That way you can talk to your prospective employer without a third party in between that's trying to profit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Recruiters serve a purpose. I've gone through recruiters. I've been a contract temporary worker. But if you're looking for a long-term position, this might be something that works against you. So I believe in making it easy to approach me. And I've noticed that I get a much higher response rate if I just contact the company directly. So we've talked about the interviewing process and how you get into a role. I have one piece of advice that I want to make sure I put out there to anybody that's earlier in their career than I am, is you got your job. Maybe it's your dream job. Maybe it's exactly what you thought you'd wanted. Maybe the work really speaks to you. Maybe you enjoy these type of puzzles, the industry. Maybe it's a field you really want to learn more about. You can do everything right and still be wrong. I've taken jobs where at first I thought I loved it. I loved the work-life balance. I loved the way that I was treated by my management. I thought I was going to be there for years. And then you find out over time, it was just lip service. Maybe your management doesn't live the values that they let you to believe at first. The circumstance changed. There's more work than expected and less people to do it. So what I'm trying to say is that even if you end up in your dream job, fantastic pay, you're learning, you're developing your skills, if it ever gets toxic, if it ever feels like it's not the best for you, if it's driving you to have self-destructive practices, binge eating, alcohol and narcotics, if it's not good for your mental health, remember, your first loyalty is to make sure you are doing well. Don't stay at a job out of loyalty because it's your first job, because you thought this was your dream job. When a position stops being good for you, take the time to assess if you still want to be there. If you're in a position where you can leverage your experience, maybe find something a little bit less stressful or more engaging, more interesting to you. In the end, you have to watch out for yourself. The company will watch out for you to an extent in that you're an asset to them, but that might just be lip service. But when push comes to shove, it's always profit first, understandably. And it is up to you to take care of yourself. A job is a job. Everybody needs a job to make ends meet in a free market society. But just remember, watch out for yourself. There will probably always be more options out there for you. So look around if you feel you're not in a good place. If you have any questions or comments about interviews, please put them down in the comments. If you like this type of content, or if you think that I should try to do more professional experience videos, just let me know. Or if you feel I should do more type of content like this about what it's like to be an engineer or a scientist in the workplace, let me know. And if you'd like to support my channel, please consider hitting the like button, comment, or share. Thank you very much for watching all the way through. And consider checking out some of my other content which should be popping up on the screen. Take care of yourself, and thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye.